Okay, wow. One Piece chapter 1063. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. I did not have that on my bingo card that Bonnie's father was actually Kuma. That is interesting. And like, yo, that panel where you have Bonney and she's got the face and like it's super shaded out and very detailed and she's crying saying, "Don't hurt my daddy." Very beautifully drawn right there. That is awesome. Like Oda, again, I know like the art style every now and then I'll have moments where I'll go like, yo, this is so cartoonish, but then when you get panels like that, like it just immediately makes me stop and go, oh my God, Oda is in his bag. This dude is absolutely cooking. I love what we're getting here just off of these little small plot twists, and I like how, once again, as we get to a new island and we see how new things are going on, you get more of like the different laws and everything. And so essentially Luffy and them, like by taking the food, it wasn't like, hey, we're going to give you free food. It's like, no, dummies, you got to pay for this food. If you don't pay for it, you're going to get those hands thrown onto you. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that. Now, backing things up a bit. So the chapter itself opens up where you got Luffy and Bonney and Chopper. They're all sitting there. They're making the fat faces because they've eaten their fill. Very hilarious to see that. You got Vegapunk saying like, man, you definitely eat your stuffing right here. But, you know, that's cool that you ate, but I got to get back to work. My job is violence. And that's our first sign right there. That's like, yo, okay, this right here is not what we think. So these are definitely going to be not necessarily some good Vegapunks, but they might have like the really chill demeanor, but at the end of the day, we got problems at hand here. However, Oda does a really good job of just continuing to disguise that, because while you got the little small Vegapunk walking away, you got Luffy going into one of the changing rooms and he's like, man, you know, it's really hot out here. However, these clothes, they look super heavy, but they're super light. And this is where Oda just takes the opportunity to just start giving the warp drill changes. And like, you see it every island. You know, Straw Hats, they get little tweaks and everything, but like with this one, you can already tell, oh, they're gonna be on some stuff right here. Cause like the way Bonney come out of this, Bonney looked like a whole snack, man. Bonney coming out of this thing with the super tight top and, you know, the lower body's showing, the legs are showing. Bonney looking good as hell right there. And what I like about this is that you can tell there's definitely some type of a theme for why the characters are dressed like this. It isn't necessarily because Oda's trying to do some fashion stuff or Oda is trying to get some of the perv moments in, because when you look at some of the other people that are walking around the island, they look dressed in a very similar way. So I'm curious to see what the story is going to be behind this. And what I like about this part is that you have Luffy. It looks like he was using his observation hockey, because Luffy's like, wait a second, that big guy right there, the panda guy, he's coming, he's gonna charge after us. And what we end up finding out is that you got the Pacifista that is coming through, is shooting off the energy beams and everything, and Luffy's like, okay, this ain't gonna work. So apparently we had to pay for this stuff. Oh well, seems like a bit of an extreme situation to be in, but can't help the situation we're in. I'm gonna go ahead and pound this guy into next week. And that's where Bonney just grabs this dude, and you immediately wonder, why is she stopping Luffy from defending himself? And what we end up finding out is that the cyborg, the human that was turned into a cyborg, was actually her father. And the way that Oda just has her face where she says, that's my daddy, and you see the tears welling up, and then you got Luffy and Chopper and Jinbe, and they're all looking like, oh my God, I can't believe this. The way that she's drawn at that top left panel where she's saying, please don't hurt my daddy, and she's got the ugly face crying, that is so freaking detailed, man. Very detailed. And what I like about the way Oda did that whole panel right there is that while he did overdo it on the toning, it works. And the way that he has the hair just blending in with the actual explosion that's going on, very great. And it's a good way to actually set up that contrast. That way on the left side, which symbolizes her thinking about her past, you see the flashback that she has of her father picking her up. Very nicely done. The small details like this is why One Piece has quickly become one of my favorite manga that I've been reading, man. It's been such a joy to get caught up on One Piece, man. So after the explosion goes off, we shift over and we get to another stretch of the New World, and we have cannon fires going off and all these explosions, and you look at Law and you can tell Law is definitely going through it right now. And then all of a sudden we see that Law looks like a woman, and the first thing that comes to my head when I see Law as a woman, I'm going, wait a second, man. So his crewmates are simping over them. I'm like, did they get into a fight with Ivankov? Is that what's going on here? And we look around and we see more of the people in Law's crew. They've been changing genders, and that's where Law just drops the bombshell. He's like, look, I learned from the fight that we had going on with the Emperors last time that, like, if you can essentially override this with haki, you can break through the diseases. And that's where we find out that Burgess, who has this strong fruit, is holding this big cannon of what it seems like is a big cannon. Either that or he's holding what looks like a huge chunk of an island. But essentially they're at war with Blackbeard's crew, and they just hurl that mountain at, and Law immediately goes into chambers, and Law immediately is able to deflect that attack. He's staring down Blackbeard, and he's looking at Blackbeard saying, like, look, man, this is going to be a winner fight. This is going to be a winner-take-all fight. You're going to give me the Poneglyphs that you have, the Road Poneglyphs. Blackbeard basically reveals he's been laying here waiting because he knew that between Luffy and Law and Kid, one of them would have had to actually come this way, and he was just waiting to take on whichever one came. And you can kind of look at this and tell, like, Blackbeard, not only is he excited about the possibility of fighting against Law and potentially taking Law's devil fruit, but also it's the fact that he gets to further cement his name. And what I also like about this whole confrontation that we're getting with Law and with Blackbeard is that you get the really good opportunity to actually see how much Law has grown in contrast to what you see with Blackbeard. And also it's a really great opportunity to where we're able to kind of delay the Luffy versus Blackbeard thing. Because, like, say Blackbeard defeats Law, that just gives Luffy more incentive to actually start putting those hands on the Blackbeard. I like what Oda's doing here. He's clearly setting Blackbeard up as, if not being a final villain, then clearly somebody that's like that villain before the final villain. I like that we're kind of slowly kicking the ball down the road when it comes to dealing with Blackbeard. But that's been my chapter question, you guys. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much of a chance do you think Law actually stands right now against Blackbeard?